The Sword and the Stone. This is a classic Disney animated movie, of course, and I'm reviewing this not because there's a remake coming out. There's a sequel comic coming out in a few weeks, and I wanted to do a video on it. So here we are talking about The Sword and the Stone, which is a movie that has always perplexed me, even watching it as a kid. Uh, this is a bad movie. And it's very bizarre to talk about certain Disney movies being bad because, especially older ones like this, there is like this large people being like, well, who love it, they grew up with it, it's nostalgic to them. And kudos to you if you love this movie. Like, whatever, I don't really give a shit. But I feel like this one is just so bad. And it's not like without merits. Let's start with the merits. First of all, the only reason you remember this movie is Merlin, who despite him having a pretty good design and being somewhat memorable, he's not really that great in this movie, and we'll get to why in a minute. But the way they've used him in other media like Kingdom Hearts and various video games and other things has made this character kind of stick around. So, I mean, it's just cool that he's introduced in this movie. The other thing that's cool is the wizard battle at the end with Madame Mimsy. I think I'm saying her name right. Is that her name, right? I don't know. But she is wonderful and just kookily mad in the right way. And that wizard scene is the best animated part of the movie. And some of the animation is really, really good. Well, actually, I'll say all of it still is pretty cool in a lot of ways. We'll get to why I say kind of bad, because there's some stuff in here like that we really got to talk about. But yeah, but that's really all I have good to say about it. You see, if you've never seen Sword in the Stone, Sword in the Stone is adapting goddamn King Arthur. And the reason I say it like that is because, like, King Arthur is a very famous legend that you can always make interesting movies out of. Plenty of people have done it, and so it's kind of one of those things that you would want Disney of all companies to make a really great adaptation of. But this movie is not about the King Arthur storyline. At the end of the movie, he pulls out the stone, and then he's king, and then the movie just kind of ends. That's the end of the movie. Basically, this movie is like reads as like a Disney educational video that teaches you nothing, because it's just a movie, not actually meant to teach you anything. But like Merlin takes this kid on like weird like adventures where like this squirrel fall in love with him, which as I remember as a kid being kind of funny, but when you watch it now, it's like the fish. He becomes a fish. Like all these things that I don't even remember what they're supposed to teach him, and then he becomes king at the end of the movie, and then the movie ends. It's really bizarre. I'm not really sure what the point of this movie really was, and it just makes this movie like very questionable when you watch it, and also boring until like the last 20 minutes where the wizards fight. Like they just fight right at the end of the movie, and it's cool as hell. Like don't get me wrong, I love that part of the movie, but like it was like, where was this the rest of the movie? Or why wasn't there more jousting and knights and cool adventures? Like what is this movie? And it's kind of this thing where maybe Disney had some ideas for shorts, but they didn't make them shorts. They just made them a movie. Disney did this for a while, but now it's a movie. And then it's like the animation here, the reason why I say it's bad is because, like, I think, what year did this one come out? I'm forgetting the year. Let's see if I can find the copyright date here. Usually they're here. This Blu-ray only says 2023, but that's not right. But whatever year this one came out, I think it was the late 60s. This was one of those ones that it came out right before Walt's death, and so it wasn't quite in that dark age, but it feels like one of their movies from the dark age. If you don't know what the dark age is, that was a period of Disney movies where into the 80s, it was mostly the late 70s and the 80s, because Jungle Book came out in 1967 and was the last film Walt Disney himself did, and then he passed away. The studio didn't really know what to do without him, especially the animation division. And so, like, they were in this awkward stage of things. This wasn't quite in that, but you could tell, like, some of the movies were, I guess, were having some box office problems. So the animation seems a little sketchier than usual, a little less fluid. Like, you can see the lines of the drawings that maybe you're not supposed to see in one of their better movies. And it's not like in that 101 Dalmatian style where it's clearly there to add personality to that movie. This, it doesn't really add any personality to it. It just looks bad at kind of points. And then there's also the point of, like, this movie has this weird thing where I guess these movies took a long time to make, more than most animated movies, because they were, drawing all these things by hand, so it took years and years and years. And so, like, the kid who played King Arthur clearly aged out of the role, went through puberty, so they recast him like 3 different times in the movie. And the 3 different times he's in the movie, he sounds awful, because you're like, wait, what? Like, that kid doesn't sound like the other kid. Like, it felt like they didn't even try to get someone close to the role. I know it can be really hard to get sound-alikes, but for God's sake, they really didn't try, or they at least should have thought ahead and cast someone who, sounded more childlike, if it was really that big of a deal. I don't know what it was, but none of it works. This movie's bad. And I'm reviewing this because I'm excited about that sequel comic, even though I'm not a fan of this movie, because I'm kind of the hope that it will actually adapt the Sword in the Stone story in an interesting way, and maybe actually have, like, real magic and actual story to it, and deal with him being king, right? Because even Merlin at the end of this movie hints he'll come back one day or something like that, and so, like, you kind of see where the potential of that, and I'm curious about that, so expect a video about that next month. But this is just one of the worst Disney movies. There is no way around it. It is just not good on any level. If you are a fan of this movie, I mean, great. I'm happy for you, but I am not. This movie is just crazy to me that it is as bad as it is. Every time I watch this movie, I'm just a little more shocked about how bad it was, especially since I grew up watching this movie as a kid. And even when I was a kid, I was like, why is his voice so weird? Why does the animation not look as good as usual? Why does this movie have this weird thing with the squirrels? None of it just felt right. And I think this movie did go through a bunch of production issues. I mean, even on this Blu-ray, you can see it's got an alternative opening where he meets Merlin and stuff. So there's stuff here that had amazing potential of one of the GOATs of film. And this movie is just not that. It is just not that. I love this slipcover, by the way. This is from the Disney Movie Club when they used to have those. But yeah, very bad movie. Let me know your thoughts.